One of the most misunderstood cues men overlook is when a woman's energy shifts. Not dramatically, but intentionally. It's that subtle transformation from being merely present to being receptive. And that's not a coincidence. That's a calculated emotional shift. See, women are biologically wired to protect their emotional and physical space. But when she begins to lower that wall, even slightly, she's not doing it randomly. She's doing it because something in you has given her reason to feel safe, intrigued, or open. That moment is your signal. This shift isn't loud. It doesn't come with flashing signs or dramatic confessions. It shows up in the smallest, most overlooked ways. Her posture relaxes around you. She starts leaning in just a bit more. Her eyes don't dart around the room anymore. They stay fixed on you. There's a kind of ease that enters the space. But this isn't just comfort. This is permission. The key is to stop seeing her presence as passive and start recognizing it as participatory. She's not just sitting there waiting to be entertained. She's co-creating a moment with you. That's the energy shift most men miss. What's happening here, psychologically, is something called reciprocal vulnerability. It's when two people silently agree to let their guards down. Not all the way, but enough to test emotional compatibility. It's like she's handing you a mirror, asking, will you reflect this openness back to me? Because in that moment, she's not waiting for a grand gesture. She's waiting for subtle certainty, your energy, your presence, your attentiveness. And here's the truth. Most men don't fail because they don't have the right lines. They fail because they ignore the right timing. A woman may never say, I want you to make a move tonight, but her body language will. Her shifted energy is the conversation. She stops being guarded and starts being available. Not just physically, emotionally. She might reposition herself closer to you without making it obvious. She'll laugh a little more freely, not because your jokes are better, but because her defenses are down. That's her subtle yes. Now, this doesn't mean she's saying yes to anything physical. It means she's giving you the opportunity to take the connection to a deeper, more intentional level. But here's the paradox. The moment is fragile. If you're too passive, the window closes. If you're too aggressive, the energy collapses. What she's looking for is presence with poise. A man who can recognize the moment and respond with confidence, not control. That's the difference between being intuitive and being impulsive. So when her energy shifts, when she goes from passive to receptive, that's not your cue to perform. That's your cue to lead with grounded clarity. To tune in, not turn up the pressure. Because when a woman makes herself emotionally available, she's not playing games. She's risking being seen. And here's what I want you to remember. In that moment, she's not just waiting for you to make a move. She's waiting to see if you can move with intention. The question isn't just, can you sense the shift? It's, are you man enough to respond to it with presence, not performance? Time reveals what words often conceal. One of the clearest signs a woman is waiting for you to make a move tonight is when she chooses to linger, not because she has nothing else to do, but because you've become where she wants to be. And here's what most men miss. When a woman doesn't rush the moment, when she delays leaving, stretches out the conversation, or finds reasons to stay just a little longer, she's not just passing time. She's testing possibility. It's easy to think, oh, she's just being polite, or maybe she's just enjoying herself. But when a woman is ready for something more, she creates space for it to happen. Not with grand declarations, but with subtle extensions. One more drink, one more topic, one more song. It's her way of softly inviting you to take things a level deeper, emotionally, physically, or both. This is what psychologists call temporal investment. It's when someone willingly invests their most limited resource, time, into a specific person or experience. Think about it. A woman can entertain attention from dozens of sources, but when she stays in your presence longer than she has to, when she chooses not to walk away, even when the evening has offered a natural ending, that is intention disguised as curiosity. She's giving you an opening. Now, the mistake many men make is interpreting this lingering as indecision. Maybe she's unsure, they tell themselves. No. What's actually happening is a moment of availability. She's paused. She's present. She's waiting. Not for a move made out of pressure, but for one made out of presence and clarity. The longer she lingers, the louder the silence becomes. And in that silence, she's asking, do you see what I'm offering here? What's interesting is that this kind of behavior often appears casual on the surface. She may look relaxed, unbothered, even playful. But beneath that exterior is a deep feminine signal. I'm opening space for you. Not because she's desperate, not because she's trying to manipulate, but because she's hopeful that you'll recognize the moment and meet her there. In today's world of distractions, when someone gives you their undivided time, they're offering something rare. A kind of psychological intimacy that isn't about words or physical touch. It's about attention. And that attention, when sustained, signals desire. Not always for sex, but for connection, for chemistry, for momentum. So when she lingers, when she smiles and stays, when she gently pushes the boundaries of time without ever saying it outright, don't just sit there. Lead, not with aggression, but with presence. Say the thing. Lean into the tension. Create the shift that she's already made room for. Because hesitation doesn't preserve the moment, it kills it. And that's the quiet tragedy most men never realize. She waited. She lingered. She created time. And he did nothing with it. So if she's still there when she didn't have to be, understand this. The moment has already started. The only question is, will you be man enough to meet her inside it? Physical proximity is never random. When a woman begins to close the space between you, whether subtly or boldly, she's communicating in a language older than words. This isn't just about comfort. It's about access. It's her quiet way of saying, I'm open to something more, but I need you to notice the invitation without me spelling it out. And most men, sadly, are too distracted or too doubtful to pick up on it. Think about it. In any setting, a woman is instinctively aware of her body in relation to others. She knows when she's sitting too close, when her shoulder brushes yours, when she leans in just a bit more than necessary. None of it is accidental. When she starts initiating those touches, a hand on your arm during laughter, her knee brushing yours under the table, or even a playful push, she's not being clumsy. She's creating a bridge between your body and hers. A signal. A test. Here's the psychology behind it. The body speaks before the mouth does. According to somatic psychology, physical cues often reveal subconscious desires long before we consciously articulate them. So when a woman allows or initiates closeness, she's not just being friendly. She's letting her body express trust, interest, and readiness. And if you miss that, you're not just being slow, you're being emotionally deaf to what she's silently asking you to notice. And this isn't about making a move the moment she touches your arm. No, it's about recognizing that she's created a space where a move is now possible. There's a difference. She's testing your emotional intelligence, your ability to read the nonverbal conversation that's happening beneath the surface. Will you tune in? Or will you retreat into awkwardness, waiting for a louder signal that will never come? A woman who starts to dissolve the physical boundaries between you is looking for a man who can meet her at that intersection with confidence. Not cockiness, not assumption, but awareness. It's not about rushing to escalate. It's about matching her level of comfort, rhythm, and energy. If she leans in, you lean back slightly and let that tension breathe. If she touches your arm, you notice it, not with words, but with a shift in your presence. That's the dance. Far too often, men are taught to think that physical touch from a woman is either meaningless or purely flirtatious. But when it's timed with emotional openness, when it happens after shared vulnerability, laughter, or eye contact, that touch becomes a bridge, a moment of mutual permission. And ignoring it doesn't make you respectful, it makes you unavailable, emotionally, mentally, and energetically. So here's the deeper truth. When a woman brings herself closer to you, she's offering a piece of her space, her warmth, her trust. She's hoping you'll do more than notice. She's hoping you'll respond with presence, not panic. Because closeness isn't just a cue, it's an opportunity. The real question is, when she invites you in, will you have the awareness to step forward with intention, or will you fumble what could have been everything by doing nothing at all? There's something deeply intimate about the way a woman looks at you when she's waiting for you to make a move. And I'm not talking about just looking. I'm talking about that gaze that lingers a second too long. The kind that isn't just about seeing you, but about inviting you in. Her eyes will ask the questions her lips don't dare say. And if you're emotionally aware, you'll feel it. Not just see it. Feel it. When a woman desires connection, her gaze becomes deliberate. She'll hold eye contact not out of politeness, but out of permission. In those silent seconds, she's transmitting trust, curiosity, maybe even a bit of vulnerability. And she's watching to see how you respond, not with flashy words or bravado, but with presence, with depth. That look is her way of saying, there's something here. Can you feel it too? And if you meet her in that space, not with performance, but with grounded energy, you unlock a different level of intimacy. This is more than flirtation. Psychologically, eye contact activates the same parts of the brain associated with emotional bonding and self-awareness. It's why prolonged eye contact between two people creates tension. Not discomfort, but emotional electricity. And if she maintains that contact with softness, not defensiveness, she's not being polite. She's placing a bet on your ability to notice that the moment has already shifted. Most men break eye contact because they panic. They look away, crack a joke, or overcompensate with bravado. But a woman doesn't give you that look for amusement. She gives it because she's trying to see you, the real you, the man behind the mask. And more importantly, she wants to know if you're emotionally present enough to see her back. Now, this doesn't mean every long gaze is an invitation for physical escalation. That's where many men misread the moment. This is about emotional readiness. When a woman holds that kind of eye contact, she's expressing that she's available, not necessarily for your touch, but for your truth, for your leadership, for your willingness to step into a shared moment with confidence and care. Her gaze is both a question and a challenge. It asks, can you be still with me in this tension? And it challenges, are you brave enough to move through it, not run from it? Because the ones who break the moment too soon, the ones who flinch, look away, or overthink, they miss everything. Not because they weren't wanted, but because they didn't know how to respond when the invitation wasn't spoken, only felt. So, if she looks at you like that, with softness, steadiness, and unspoken expectation, understand what's happening. She's given you access. She's given you a moment, and that moment won't repeat itself if you ignore it. Because sometimes, the eyes don't just look at you, they call you. The question is, when she gives you that look tonight, will you be man enough to answer? One of the most overlooked, yet undeniably powerful, signs that a woman is waiting for you to make a move is when she breaks character. She momentarily steps outside the social script of being polite, reserved, or just nice, and she starts showing a bolder, edgier version of herself. Not because she's trying to shock you, but because she's testing to see if you can handle her. She wants to know, can you meet her not just emotionally, but energetically? You'll notice it in her language. Suddenly, she's a little more playful, a little more daring. Maybe she teases you, challenges you, even flirts with a touch of sarcasm. She pushes you verbally, just enough to see if you'll flinch or fire back with equal confidence. This isn't an accident. Psychologically, it's known as compliance reversal. When someone briefly flips their expected behavior to test the strength or depth of a connection. In simpler terms, she's stepping out of the good girl frame to see if you can hold your ground like a man. not just a nice guy. A woman doesn't do this with someone she's indifferent about. She does it when she feels chemistry and wants to see what you'll do with it. It's her way of saying, let me stir the waters a little and see if you sink, float, or swim toward me. She's looking for a reaction, not out of manipulation, but out of curiosity. She wants to know if you have a spine, not to dominate, but to trust. And if you're emotionally immature or insecure, you'll likely miss the beauty of that moment. You'll get defensive, you'll retreat, or worse, you'll take it personally. But when you're grounded, when you understand that this is just her stepping into her full feminine expression, you don't shrink, you expand. You match her wit, hold the tension, and lead the moment forward without losing your cool. This is where emotional intelligence meets masculine presence. Because here's the deeper truth. A woman can only feel truly attracted to a man she can trust to stay emotionally centered when she turns up the heat. Not when everything's smooth and easy, but when she challenges him, flirts harder, or dares him to show who he really is. That break in the nice girl script, that's not an accident. That's a green light. It's her way of stepping outside the predictable to invite you to be unpredictable too. Not reckless, not aggressive, but bold enough to dance with her energy instead of tiptoeing around it. So if she suddenly teases you, challenges you, or starts showing a side of herself that's more raw, more confident, more unfiltered, don't be caught off guard. Recognize what she's doing. She's saying, this is the real me. Can you handle it? And if you can't meet her there, if you shrink instead of step forward, she won't push twice. She'll pull back and take the moment with her. Because a woman will break her own rules once, just to see if you're ready to break the silence. The only question is, will you rise to meet her or fall back into hesitation? When a woman starts using open-ended language around you, questions that invite imagination, playful hypotheticals, or subtle what-if scenarios, she's not just making conversation, she's handing you a key. And what that key unlocks depends entirely on your awareness in that moment. Because make no mistake, when her words become less about facts and more about possibility, she's not filling silence, she's creating space for you to step in. Listen closely the next time she says something like, what would you do if we were alone right now? Or, I wonder what would happen if we stayed a little longer. That isn't just flirtation. It's not filler, it's framing. She's testing to see whether you have the emotional depth and masculine clarity to take that opening and guide it somewhere meaningful, or if you'll laugh it off and shut the door without even realizing it. This kind of language is rooted in something psychologists refer to as projective invitation. She's projecting a potential scenario, not to trap you, but to gauge your mindset, your intentions, your ability to read the room. She's offering you a non-verbal, non-committal signal that says, I'm open to this moment becoming more, are you? And what she's really asking in those subtle prompts is not whether you'll act impulsively, but whether you'll act intentionally. Will you tune in, match her energy, and move forward with presence? Or will you deflect, delay, or play dumb to avoid risking rejection? Because here's the thing, the risk of moving forward is real, but so is the cost of hesitation. And too many men lose the moment, not because they weren't wanted, but because they didn't recognize when they were being invited. The feminine doesn't communicate desire the same way the masculine does. It speaks in feeling, in possibility, in emotional cues. So when her words start painting scenes and scenarios that include you, when she starts building what-ifs that place you both at the center, that's not small talk. That's a door being cracked open. She's showing you that she's not just thinking about now, she's wondering about what could be. And that wondering isn't aimless, it's intentional. What's required in those moments is leadership, not force, confidence, not arrogance. You don't need to dominate the situation. You need to guide it, gently, deliberately. You meet her where she's at, and then you elevate the moment with clarity and presence. That's what creates trust. That's what builds attraction. Not just the fact that you noticed her signals, but that you responded to them without hesitation and without disrespecting her pace. Because when a woman opens a window into the possibility of more, she's hoping you won't just admire the view. She's hoping you'll step through it. So the next time she wraps her curiosity around a question, pay attention. That's not just her being playful. That's her offering you a choice. And the truth is, she won't always ask twice. She'll ask once, with her words, her gaze, her energy, and then she'll move on. The only thing left to ask yourself is, will you still be standing there wondering what it meant? Or will you already be walking through the door she opened?